it's all very, it's all very last minute, and I had to untangle some wires from the EcoFlow. In fact, even now it's been a nuisance. Well, not so much the EcoFlow. I got one of these 12-volt adapters, goes in the cigarette socket. Push it in, and it just keeps popping back out. So that's a bit annoying. Let's have a look at chat, see whether there's anybody here. Not as yet. Okay. Live chat. Let me get a swig of beer. Like I said, it's all a bit last minute, and I've got, the weather's not great. I've got the wind pushing in on the back of the tent. All right, we'll give it a moment. See whether anybody else arrives. I've literally only given it 10 or 15 minutes advance notice, prior notice of the stream. So we'll have to bear with it and just wait for people to arrive. This is a TrampCast Hangout, a very, very last minute TrampCast Hangout. If you've read the description, you might understand why. My friend and a streamer that I like to watch, Scrufdog, has a power cut. He would have been going live about now, and the power cut makes that pretty unlikely. I gave it an extra half hour beyond his start time, roughly. So we'll see. I'm assuming that he's not going to make it. If he does suddenly go live, I may abandon this and go over there. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear. We'll wing it for now. Let me just check something. No, you're not. She's the dog is curled up in bed with me. She was laying alongside me, but she decided to curl around this way and put her head down. It's all a little bit awkward, to be honest. But yeah. So I think I saw Anthony arriving and saying hello. Hello, Anthony, my friend. Yeah, I got your message the other day. You're coming over soon. Okay, that'll be nice. Yeah, I won't say any more. Not in public. Right, folks. Just wait and see if any more arrive. It is quite a slow start to the proceedings, but with only 10 minutes notice, what did I expect from you? So as I said, this is a TrampCast Hangout. This is just you and me. You're just chatting with a tramp. The channel is Delta Mike, down and out in Torrevieja. I am the aforementioned Delta Mike, down and out. A homeless guy, a tramp, a hobo, a vagrant, an indigent person, a person of no fixed abode. Some might say a bum. Someone who lives rough, perhaps on the streets, or in my case, in a field. In a tent in a field. Fortunately, given the weather today, it looks like we're going to have quite a cold winter, folks. Okay, so Delta Mike, down and out. That's that covered. In Torrevieja. Torrevieja is a city on the southeast coast of Spain. Kind of roughly equidistant between Alicante and Murcia. Roughly speaking, they're both about 45-50 minutes away. So that's where we are, folks. Now, what have I been up to this week so far? We are only a few days in. It was only Sunday night I was last on. But I did say at that point that I was going to try and do a video every day featuring my doggie, Tina. So far that's not gone too well. I'm still working on Mondays. Tuesday I did a lovely sunrise. That went okay. Not the biggest viewership or audience ever. And there was a bank of cloud right on the horizon which dragged it out, and I don't know, maybe I should have sped the video up or edited it, cut some bits out. Whereas people on average watch just over half of the length of the video. Some people dip in and out and leave. So on average, the average viewership is about half of a video. This only got people watching about a quarter. 20-minute video and people only watch 5 minutes. I guess they fast forwarded to the actual sunrise proper. As it comes over the horizon, it would be blocked by the clouds and the mist. And today was a total disaster. So today I decided to walk Tina in her chariot up to Torre del Morro. And bloody hell's a lot steeper than I remember. We both used to kind of more or less run up that hill. But after 18 months of not leaving this field, hardly, and obviously Tina now not having back legs and only just getting the wheelchair what is it, a couple of months ago now, it was a real struggle. I had to actually drag her up the hill, and at times I had to get behind and push the wheelchair. I wouldn't have felt safe doing it on the main road because there's no footpath. So we went one street back, which stays level to begin with, but then climbs really steep, then it plateaus, and then it climbs steep again. And she was struggling with the steepness. Is that the right? Is that a word? She was struggling with the gradient of the hill. Let's go with gradient rather than steepness. It sounds better. Then while I was bent double and pushing the wheelchair to make sure she had the oomph to get up, you know, my phone it's a bit bendy. It's got a hinge, one of the earliest hinged phones, touchscreen and flip. Well, my phone bent slightly, and it's a faulty phone. As soon as it bends slightly, it turns off, like won't come back on, kind of off. And we made it. We got to the top of the hill. We went around. We went down. We went to Torre del Morro, but there's no video of any of it. The video just wouldn't. The camera just would not come back on until it gets a charge. You have to put a power into it, even though it's fully charged. Half the time you can hold the button for 10 seconds, it will come on. The other half, no, you have to plug. It has to pick up a voltage on the USB port, and I'd not taken a power bank with me because why would you? Just extra weight to carry. So no, none of that. So that's been a bit of a washout this early part of the week. So far, the 3 days that we've had, we've only released one video. Tomorrow is probably a trip to the supermarket, which isn't that exciting a video really, but that's the only real planned activity I can think of that includes Tina, taking her to the supermarket. And I've got to work out what to do with her when we're there. Can I tie her up and just leave her stood there in her wheelchair? Or do I have to take her out of it, which seems more sensible? But if I take her out of it, how do I secure it so no stroke just runs away with it? I'll have to take her lead, put it through the wheels, then tie it up, maybe? And it's a supermarket I've only ever been to once, and I was in a car when I went, and Tina wasn't there. So I don't know where to tie her up, how to tie her up, or what, you know, it's all going to be new. This is literally going to be my first trip to a supermarket this year, which is weird to say this, you know, in the first week of December. But that's how it is, folks. That's how it is. Okay, there's a few more people arriving. The numbers are slowly climbing. Welcome, folks. I'm just discussing the Advent Tina kind of video calendar, I guess, as it's meant to be. Supposed to be trying to do one video a day every day until Christmas, and it's not going great. There's one video stuck in the works, there's one video released, and today the phone went bad, and so no video of half of the day. Less than ideal. Less than ideal. But we had a nice little walk up to Torre del Morro anyway, apart from the gradient of the hill. We got recognised on the way back. Tina was recognised by a lady. and we just went there, sat there for half an hour and came back. The kiosk, the little cafe bar up there wasn't open. It's a little bit cold. I was just in those long sleeve t-shirts. It was very windy, as it is now still. I don't know if that's coming across. I guess you can see some of the lights just about up here, yeah? I can't because of the pinned comment across the top of the screen. Oh! Okay. I've gone live and now I've started yawning. Come and say hello, folks. Come and join me in chat. You want to be selecting, well, you want to be selecting all messages are visible, live chat, I guess it's called, rather than top chat, which is the default. But come and join me. Come and say hello. I'm just going to check whether... So the reason we're live tonight is because Scrufdog's got a power cut and isn't live, or wasn't. I'm just going to check whether that's still the case. It certainly looks to be. There's no notification of him going live. So I guess we'll roll with it for a while. How are we for power on the phone? Oh, it's on 100. So we might as well charge the tablet instead. Scruff's hoping his power's back soon, but he won't be streaming. Okay, mate. I didn't want to tread on your toes. If you'd got your power back and we're going live, I would have cut and come back across. But here we are, off to a slow start because it's a very, very last minute alert for people. I haven't really got any topics in mind. I haven't really got anything to talk about other than the fact that the Tina Advent video calendar isn't off to a flying start. But then nothing in my life's off to a fucking flying start, is it? So we'll wing it and we'll manage. You on a boat crossing the channel? No, I am not. Just in a tent with strong winds battering us a little bit. It's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit throughout the day. There's been windy periods and slightly less windy. The weather forecast I looked at said that it was only 26 kilometers per hour. Well, it's been a lot stronger than that. I didn't check. I've got another app called Windy that tells you the gusts, not just the average speed. I'm guessing the gusts of... Bloody hell, that's smacking me about a bit. I'm guessing the gusts have been nearer 50 kilometers an hour. What's that? 30 miles an hour, probably. For anybody of an imperial measurement persuasion in old money. Let me just see whether I can maybe up my brightness a little bit, just so I get a better view of myself. I assume, folks, that the audio is still a bit muddy, still a bit rubbish. I've decided to go ahead using the phone rather than the tablet because slightly muffled speech seems more manageable than that jerky video that we got with the jerky video that we got from the tablet. Get the spare tent out ready. Spare tent, well, I've got which spare tent? I've got 3 to choose from. I've got the next new tent. The next new tent is here in the other room, and I've got 2 emergencies. One, there's a 2-man and a 3-man. I think this one's a 6-man. The next new one. Audio's fine. That's a change. Zammy Adams, hello. Audio's fine. It's been a bit muffled the last few on the phone, but okay. See, what I can do if it is bad, I can tilt it slightly and put myself a little bit nearer this end where the microphone is. But if it's alright, I won't need to bother. I am a little bit closer than normal because of the way Tina's lying. I haven't we haven't introduced you to her. That's one of the traditions of the channel. But she is tucked up in bed in a ball. I'm gonna turn the camera around. I'm gonna scroll to find the lightning bolt. And then we'll hey babe, down here. Hey Tina, talk to the peoples for me. You're gonna talk to the people. Say hello to your fans. Your fans are missing you because we haven't been doing the videos. Hey? No, she's staying shy, folks. Staying shy. She's my little hot water bottle, though. Oh, I only just, as we went live, I only just plugged the tennis racket of death in. Is the Christmas tree, I think the Christmas tree lights are still plugged in. If you can, oh, I'll do that. Hold on, I'll have to turn them on using the tablet if it's... Something about my Bluetooth is only allowing one device to connect at a time. So it gets a little awkward when the device that you're using doesn't bring up the device you need to control. Which socket do I need? I need the AC. Why did that not come on? Ah, there we go. That took longer than I expected. Currently the tree is just balanced on my big chair. Let me... For anyone who didn't see it the other night, it is still tilted a little because it is just... That's actually a better picture. That's better on screen than I'm seeing in real life. I can't really see the chair. Which means you're probably seeing all the other clutter on the floor. Probably best not to look too closely, folks. But there's my fibre optic Christmas tree. Powered in my off-grid living from my EcoFlow, which is currently here on the bed. Because it needs to be able to reach the phones and things. But that's not a bad Christmas tree for a tramp. Okay, give me a second. I'll need to go. I'll leave it on for a little bit. Tomorrow, though, is the weather forecast says no sun at all tomorrow, so I have to guard my power a little bit carefully. I have to be a bit mindful of it. So, for example, not plugging my fridge freezer in and falling asleep. That's always a classic. Wake up with the EcoFlow on 0. And then... What's going on there? Wake up with the EcoFlow on 0 or close to 0. 13% it was one day last week. And then you get a day that shapes up to have no sunshine all day. And my phone was on 20 and the tablet on 30, something like that. And they quickly ran out overnight. So that was fun. I've got to be mindful of my power is all I'm saying there. Picture perfect, said Keith, Sign of Nature. Okay, folks. What can we talk about then? Like I said, I haven't got any topics lined up. I've been trying to draw up a bit of a shopping list because, like I said, all year I've been so lucky. I mean, this almost could have been a topic last week, couldn't it? Thanksgiving for the Americans over there. How the hell have I got to the first week in December and not been shopping? A few, maybe once a week to the Chino Bazaar just to buy, sometimes to buy poo bags for the dog. I went looking at fly spray the other day, but that was ridiculously expensive, didn't get that. I bought a new USB cable with a 3-splitter thing on the end, and mainly it's a case of beer each weekend, so that I can talk to you guys on Friday and Sunday and not have my throat totally dry up. Cheers. But actual food shopping in a supermarket stroke grocery store, I've not stepped foot. Well, it's a slight lie. I stepped foot in one day with some friends who were buying me some fly spray. But that was it. That's the only time I've stepped foot in a supermarket, and I wasn't doing the buying and it was just 1 or 2 items. It wasn't an actual shopping trip. So today I've been sat here trying to do the balancing act of, there's plenty of food in here. There's just not a meal, or not many meals. So trying to buy the things to pad that out. So I've got potatoes, I've got onions. Those are pretty. Oh, I've got sweet corn. I haven't got any meat. I've got a couple of tins of fish, salmon or tuna. I got some chickpeas, but no lentils. Trying to think of what else would pad a meal out. So some celery, some bell peppers. Oh, there was other stuff that I can't remember right offhand. A few tins of tomatoes wouldn't go amiss. So trying to make the list. I want some flour as well. I'm going to make some bread, or I want to have flour and ingredients on hand to make bread when I need it. Although in the supermarket I'll be able to buy some as well. But I just need to pad out the supplies that I do have to make a more complete pantry or larder. Also some butter and some marge to put in the fridge over there. See, I've got packets of cheese. I had half a dozen slices of bread. Dog! The bread was here on the side of the bed, and I went out doing something, making coffee in the morning. And when I come back in, fucking no bread anymore. Just a hole in the side of the bread bag. Last week I had a remnant of some chorizo. I was going to make a stew using chorizo as the base. Chorizo and a tomato frito. When I got back in from doing something, similarly the remnants of the chorizo gone. I was not best pleased. So by the time I've made a short list of things that I want to buy, it spends more money than I've got available for spending on those items. I'm trying to budget so that the money that I do have in PayPal at the minute lasts me through Christmas and New Year. But realising that I will go out and buy some treats at Christmas. Because I always do. I've always been a big one for having things on hand at Christmas. Fruit, clementines or tangerines, whatever version they have. Fun-sized chocolates, Milky Ways and Mars bars and Bounties and things. A bottle of Baileys, maybe. Maybe, if the money stretches that far. So trying to keep some money set aside for the actual Christmas and New Year period. Also, I want to buy all the ingredients for the Christmas dinner. Like I said, I've got potatoes, onions. I'm going to get carrots and celery but I'm going to need Brussels sprouts, parsnips, eggs and flour and milk. Milk I haven't mentioned. And I want to get some milk in the fridge so that I can make Yorkshire puddings, or at least a Yorkshire pudding. Ingredients for eggnog maybe, although I'm not the biggest fan. To me, eggnog is just custard that somebody forgot to cook. Maybe that's just because I can't, well, it's not just that I can't be bothered frothing up the egg whites. I haven't got the technology to froth up the egg whites. There's no mixer or blender or anything here. I haven't even got a whisk, I don't think, at the minute. Have I? I don't think I've even got just a simple whisk. So it's not like I can froth up the egg whites and fold them in. I'll just be throwing egg in. So I'm trying to balance it. What do I need now for food? What will I need at Christmas and New Year? And how does the money stack up against that? And how do I pair things with what I've already got? I've got more squeezy bottles of mayonnaise and all the condiments you could ever want. I think I've still got ranch. I've got burger relish. I've got when people leave the country and they bring me a bag or half a bag of whatever they had left in their cupboards at the end or in their fridge, there's always mayo, aioli. Ranch seems to be becoming quite popular. Again, I'm not the biggest fan. It's like a bland salad cream. If you've ever had British salad cream, it's a little bit more vinegary, a little bit more tart. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, the numbers are still building. We're only got 12 still. It was a slow start, but like I said, it was very much last minute. So that's what I've been doing today. I think mainly, folks, walking the doggy, trying to edit a video from the other day, and playing up wish lists with shopping lists. I had to have a clear out in this corner where my bin is. I think, was it Friday night? I had the bin bag closed, so I couldn't just throw the cans in, or I can't reach while the EcoFlow and everything. So I'd been throwing rubbish just into that corner. I think I didn't quite get around to opening the bag up and putting everything back in, so it got piled quite high in the end. So that was a big job today. It sounds ridiculous. I put my hand in a fucking mousetrap, didn't I, while picking stuff up. So that my plastic mouse traps that have got teeth like that and that kill everything instantly, I caught my hand. Fortunately, I caught it real full on in there. You know, like if a kid tries to bite you and you ram your hand in, they can't really bite properly. I was in that kind of situation with the mouse trap. Got me good, but hasn't marked or broken the skin or anything. I'm just hoping it doesn't come up in a bruise tomorrow with the teeth marks. It's a little bit tender, but nothing obvious yet. That's just cramped up actually, but I don't think that's related. That's a bit weird actually. Maybe it is related. I don't know, folks. It's only the second time that these mouse traps. You don't pluralize it when you say mice traps, do you? I'll stick with mouse traps. I'm not even sure if it's one word or two. Don't know. If it's one word, then you definitely don't pluralize it. I was never sure about the plural of mother-in-law. Mothers-in-law? Mother-in-laws? Don't know. Who knows? The vagaries of language. Let me just check that my chat hasn't frozen, because it had frozen. Look, I was stuck back here looking at Picture Perfect was the last message I saw. Got your boat and waterproofing ready. There's no boat as yet, no. Sign of Nature says it's free of charge to send a like, folks, if any of you haven't done so already. Always appreciated. I'll try and entertain you and keep rabbiting on. Appreciate questions and chat, because without chat, I'm nothing. Got room in the freezer for a turkey. I probably could get a full one in, but I'm not sure I'm going to buy a full turkey. I haven't got an oven, so it's going to get done in a either one frying pan or two, unless I do something silly with a slow cooker. Put oil in the bottom and try and treat it like like an air fryer or something, even though it hasn't got a fan. That sounds ridiculous. Spatchcocking and just doing it. Smaller frying pan on the bottom, larger frying pan upturned over the top. I'm a little bit worried about my gas bottle. It feels really light, so I'm not sure whether to try and eke it out and make it last, or whether to stick it on the trolley, take it up to the petrol station, gas station, and pay the 25 or so euros and swap it for a full bottle. Not sure. That would probably be more sensible rather than risking it running out on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day when I'm cooking. Get that done and out of the way in the run-up, maybe. But then it's a chunk of money out of off my off my prepaid debit card and PayPal account. Again, folks, balancing acts. Trying to keep the money in the account and keep fed over a festive period with lots of eating and drinking. There won't be lots of drinking, I overstate it. But from what I can tell, Karen's left me, my friend Karen's left me a few bits of alcohol to see. I think I've said, she left me this box with some Christmas supplies as my Christmas present. But the dog destroyed the box. I've just put that in the bin today. So I've had to just put things away on the whole. So I know everything that's in there. Sorry, Karen. Dog. Blaming the dog. Not calling you names. There's Steve. Hold on. It is Steve, isn't it? Mirror, mirror. I had to pause and check whether it was a Michael, but I think it's a Steve. Hello, happy chatters. Hello, mirror, mirror. Hello, Steve. Looks windy tonight, Mike. It is, mate. It is, or it has been on and off. It's a little bit chilly as well, but I am just in the t-shirt still, the long sleeve t-shirt. I have actually today just dug out the next t-shirt. I've been wearing this one a little bit too long. Rinsed it a few times and what have you, but there's only so long. I must be up to about a month of wearing the one t-shirt. Like I said, it's been rinsed. There's been soap and water applied to various parts at certain times just to freshen it up a bit. Deodorized, but yeah, I think I've got the next one lined up so that I'll get a good wash in the morning and swap t-shirts and then take the doggy to the supermarket. That's the plan. Whether it happens or not. See, what was it the other day I was going to do, and I stayed live for 6 hours or so, didn't I? Was it 5 or 6 hours on Sunday night into Monday? There were things I was going to do Monday, and Monday morning got off to a fairly slow start because it was 5 or 6 o'clock and I went to sleep. You're not going to jump out of bed too early then, are you, and get on with things. So maybe I won't do anything too drastic tonight in terms of going on too long. I've said that before and then done 6 hours, so we'll see. It's always funny, the ones where I start where I've got no plan of what we're going to talk about. I've got no topics in mind. Those are the ones where it tends to go on the longest. The ones where I've got a few topics to cover, those tend to run out of steam. So questions, comments in chat, folks, just to help keep me going. Put Pepper down and mice stay away. I've heard a lot of these. What could you call them? I'm going to call them urban legends. Things like lavender, garlic, any of the essential oils, even citronella. I know that's mainly for mosquitoes, but urine I've heard as a thing to keep them away. Nothing really worked. Last year I was plagued by the little bastards for 3 months until my friends bought me 4 of these mouse traps, and it took 1 week to eradicate them. We got 6 on the first night, 2 on the third. I think it was early on the 3rd day, so it wasn't the 2nd night, but it was early that next morning, and then a couple more throughout the rest of that week, and then nothing, to the point where I stopped using the mouse traps. Now I've got them out. We had one period where I had a box of chocolates, and the little bastards got in, and just a little cardboard box, Was it Roses or Quality Street? It was this box. So it was Quality Street. And they got in, so afterwards I had a mouse trap in there. And I got 2 in one night. And then they disappeared again, and there hasn't been any recurrence ever since. Every now and again I'll put the mouse traps down and bait them. Through summer, the bait disappeared because ants. The bait, I was using like sauces, barbecue or hot dog relish, not hot dog, burger relish, the orangey stuff. Very American. Glows. I couldn't tell you what flavour or whatever burger relish is meant to be. I've no idea, but it's fuck off vivid orange. But the ants got to it before the mice did, so it would be the traps would be baited for about 2 days, maybe 3, and I didn't want to just keep putting more and more relish out. So now I bait them every second or third weekend, just as a test, and no mice have been detected, no droppings detected anywhere, no scurrying around inside the tent, no noise at all. Now that we've got a cold snap, maybe we'll come across them, because my door just to the right out here. So just if I show you again, if I show you the Christmas tree and the chair, just bear with me. So you see the Christmas tree there? Well, just to the right of that chair is a door that doesn't seal at the bottom. Tina broke the zip on the inner door, and the outer door doesn't close that far down anyway. Let me see whether I can make that more clear. No, I can't. There's a door just around the corner there. So because of the combination of the zip being bust, and my doggy flattening, there's like a skirt all around, so the floor comes up about 6 inches, 8 inches, and then you have the doorway. So you have to step over like a threshold. Except my doggy can't step at the back, so she drags herself in and out. So she stretched and flattened all of that plastic, broke the zip, and I suspect something could walk in if it was there and trying to walk in. It would be entirely possible, yeah. So we'll deal with that when we get to. Obviously, I have to be careful. These mouse traps are quite vicious. I've got one just down here. Let me see whether I can reach it. For those of you that haven't seen, I know you've seen mouse traps, but you might not have seen this design. Give us a second. I've got to be careful not to set it off. Oh, it's a little bit covered in dust because, you know, floor of a tent. But that's the general shape and the teethiness of it. I've been here a while. Hey, fuck, it went. Okay, that's me. The little pot of bait is a little bit. It hasn't been picked clean. Look, there's gunk in there still. Look. So you fill that little pot, apply it from underneath, and you heard how vicious the fucking thing went off. I've had a few other like normal mouse traps before, and they had a terrible tendency. If they went off with nothing in, if they accidentally got set off by something, they would snap shut so hard they would fucking explode. The spring would pull the staples out of the little balsa wood bottom, or balsa wood or plywood, whatever the fuck that stuff is. And if they got set off accidentally, like a false positive, they would just explode and fall apart. These are just phenomenal. That is actually the first false positive that we've had with them, and that's because when I pulled out, there was detritus, there was dried sauce overhanging the pot. So when I pulled out at the bottom, it triggered the platformy bit that sets it all off, and that's what it would look like if it was going off on you. I had to do that very gently. But they're fantastic. If you see these on Temu or whatever, folks, if you do have any kind of rodent problem, they do a bigger version for you know, for the bigger ones. I'm not going to say their name. That's a superstition of mine. Oh, that's got to be on the floor, not my bag. Sorry, folks, you get a close-up of my nose and face. Those are fantastic. If you're looking for a recommendation for a mouse trap on the cheap, they cost about €2 or €3 stroke dollars stroke pounds each. There aren't many. There's not much difference in those currencies nowadays. Snakes are better than pepper. Never seen a snake here. A guy told me that he saw one, but haven't seen snakes. And I've been here. I've been in this field now over 3 years, haven't I? October the 10th, 3 years ago. So 3 years and a couple of months, I guess. Any day now. Did I just see my friend Ismo arriving? Ismo from Finlandia. Hey. Kippis, amigo. Kippis to Ismo. Cheers to the rest of you. I didn't mean to leave you out. I had to remind myself not to crush this can. I haven't got many. And this light needs to sit on something. What brightness level are we on? What's that? Okay, now we're on the top brightness. Is that better or worse? Balance-wise, it's not ideal because I've opened that can of beer and now it hasn't got the ballast, it hasn't got the weight. So it's an empty can and the ring pull has been pulled, so that's sticking up a little bit. So undoubtedly, I don't think Famas here, is he? Undoubtedly, the light will attack me at some point in the next 5 or 10 minutes. This is another tradition of the channel, being attacked by my lantern. I'll try and stop waving my hands around in front of the camera, folks. Sign of nature. Keith says money got two last 2 Christmases. No idea what that means, mate. Sentence construction, maybe. Do you have more spirits over Christmas than normal? Yeah, because normally I don't have spirits, but it's only when Karen left the country and wasn't going to be back for 3 months, she brought me the vodka and I think the vodka caramel, which I just finished yesterday, I think. I had the last shot of that yesterday. She got that, so she left intending to not be back for 3 months. But Britain was so cold that she came back for 4 days the other week. And they just dropped this off. So I don't buy and drink spirits generally. I can't remember the last time that I did. But I do have a few friends who drop off the odd bit. Like Ryan at Vitruvium, when he came down with his mum and she gave me a bottle of Baileys. It's more a liqueur than a spirit, I guess. But do I buy spirits? I haven't done. See, for 18 months I never left this field, or I only left this field to go across to the Chino Bazaar. He's got beer. That's about his limit. He hasn't got anything else, I don't think. Although he just moved the beer the other day just to confuse me. Was that Friday? Yeah, it must have been Friday when I went shopping for the weekend beer. Yeah, no, I had to ask where the beer was. But he doesn't sell any else. And like I said, I haven't been shopping, I've been in a supermarket. So, depending on which average you want to use, if you want to ask me about how much spirits do I drink on an average week, typically, certainly the mode would be 0. Mean, mode, and median. So mode is the most frequent, would be 0 spirits. But the rest, I mean, it's fractions of a bottle if you share it out. If once every 2 months Karen brings me either a quarter bottle or a third bottle of vodka, yeah, I don't know. I'm a beer man, really. Wine, wine when I'm trying to eke the money out and make the money go further. You got to remember, folks, here's the thing. Spain, a 12-pack of these in a supermarket, $3.60 for 12. You're looking at 30 cents a can. Chino Bazaar, he was $4.95 because he's got you by the balls. Think of it as convenience. I couldn't go anywhere further away before Tina had the chariot, and yeah, we've been kind of trapped here for so long. I could tie her up here and I could nip across because he's only 5 minutes away. 5 minutes that way, 5 minutes back, 5 or 10 minutes in the shop, depending if there's people in front of you in the queue. So I could go 15 minutes without there being too much of a risk of Tina being in any trouble. I couldn't go to the supermarket. That's a 15-minute walk away, 15 minutes around the shop, possibly 15 minutes in the queue waiting for checkout, and then 15 minutes home. I'd be gone an hour. That's not possible. She couldn't get that far, and I couldn't leave her that long unattended. Not the way she is. And she's always suffered with separation anxiety. If the leader of the pack isn't there, she'll bark once a second every second until he is there. And yeah, let me get this open, folks. I'm holding it and my hands are going cold, and there's no reason to be holding it and having my hands go cold. And at the same time, I'm warming the beer up, aren't I? That has been revolutionary, having the fridge freezer. Cold beer. Even though it's winter now, I mean, it would have been nice to have had it over summer, but how is your area for tourism? I don't get out and about. I don't know. Historically, Torrevieja is a lot quieter outside of the summer months. And I think partly their own fault. So, for example, there's a water park, the water slides and the swimming pool at the bottom. Doesn't open up until middle of June, or maybe the start of July. To the Spanish, summer is August. It's the be-all, it's the end-all. The entire country takes August off, pretty much. And so you've got these glorious temperatures from kind of March, April onwards, and they don't open shit because to them it's not summer. The Brits would all go to that swimming pool. After March, once you're into April, Brits would be in that swimming pool. It's closed, and they're like that. There's a kind of an all year round thing about that. There's near where I used to live with a friend back in the day. There's a residencia, an urbanization, a gated community, I guess is the best word for it. And there's 4 or 5 tower blocks in there. They're not that tall, 7 or 8 stories, but they're quite long and wide. Most of the year, there'll be one light on. There'll be one apartment with somebody in each tower block. Then you get to the week before Easter, or the weekend before Easter. Hey, babe, you trying to get out? Oh, you're hot. You're my little hot stuff. She's fallen asleep under the bed, under the covers, and woken up red hot. These tower blocks though, one light on most of the year, and then you get to Easter, jam-packed full. Everybody's there. They all come out for Easter, and then nothing until August. And now a lot of the foreigners that are over here, a lot of Brits, Scandinavians, Norwegians, they'll go home at Christmas. Some of them go home for the winter. Especially if they enjoy their skiing or whatever. So you get some Spanish that come out here for Christmas, but it's only going to be for like a week or so, maybe two, just to get them through. Yeah, to get through New Year and to what's it called? Three Kings, King's Day. So in Spain, just for anyone who doesn't know, January the 6th, what we would call 12th night in Britain, that's the night we take all our decorations down. By tradition, your decorations have to be down before the night of the 6th of January. In Spain, that's when they give their presents. That used to be their real Christmas, King's Day. So the ones who come out for Christmas will stick around maybe for New Year and for King's Day if their work permits. But I haven't been out and about. I haven't been anywhere much. Like I say, we've had a couple of trips out just recently, but only a few hundred meters really. And this one killed me today. My God, I came back and threw my ring up. I should talk about that. I'm so unfit that just walking up this hill was killing me. Then I was having to drag Tina. She was losing the battle and starting to go backwards off. And if she tilts up, the wheelchair will tilt. So I have to be a bit careful. And then I had to bend over and push her up the hill. In the end, it was so steep, and I was knackered myself. I got back here. It was like you've gone. Have you ever gone months without running, and then you run, and you're coughing. You're getting all sorts of crap off your lungs. I was coughing so much. It wasn't vomit. It wasn't food off my stomach. It was phlegm from off my chest. Nice topic, but anyway, yeah. To answer your question though, Steve, isn't it? To answer your question, Mirror, I'm not sure what the current situation is this year. We certainly seem to be having a colder. I hesitate to use the word winter because technically it's still autumn, but it's the cold is here a lot sooner than normal, and then there's all this talk about this Arctic vortex. In the old days, we just used to talk about the jet stream wandering. Now it has to have a label. The jet stream's going to get pushed down because the vortex is weak, and oh my God. Yeah, we just used to say the jet stream wobbled. Now it's a polar vortex. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's the same way that all of the full moons now have to have dandy little names. Blood moons and fucking whatever. Everything has to be. It's a media thing. Everything is branded. Even the different full moons each month, or they're 4 weekly, aren't they? You get 13 of them in a year, typically. There are supposed to be 14. There are supposed to be 13 moons in a year, not 12. Careful with mice when they move out. The rats move in. Yeah, we had. So some of my previous tents weren't a complete envelope. They weren't a closed plastic bag. The bedroom was its own self-contained unit, and then the outer skin of the tent just came down to the floor and stopped, and then a separate ground sheet. Well, since I had an experience, you can check back. If you check videos from on Christmas Day, not last year. Was it the one before? Or was it the one before that? No, there wasn't a tent the first 3 years ago. There wasn't a tent at Christmas. I was still just living out in the field with a bedroll. So yeah, the Christmas a couple of years ago, I killed a rat on Christmas morning. Well, I didn't. A big mousetrap did. And then I went out and saw the death throes, or heard heard the death throes and hesitated to go out until it quietened down and stopped. At first, I didn't realise what was happening. I just heard this noise, and it carried on moving for like about 30 fucking seconds. I thought, well, there's maybe multiple of them. I thought maybe the trap had got one and another one was trying to scurry away or do something. But it wasn't a clean kill, which used to affect me, folks. Mouse traps killing the mice and glancing over and seeing them die if it wasn't a clean kill. There's one time I moved a rat trap, one of the bigger traps. I moved a rat trap in, and I'd moved it out of the way of the dog, and I'd put it up on a pile of something, on a bag. I had a few bags stacked up, and I saw a mouse tail over here, different tent to this, but this is the direction, over this corner. And I thought, oh fuck, we got one of them in here. And I'd given up chasing them at this point because they're so fucking fast. If you've ever chased a mouse in reality. But 60 seconds later, clunk, and this fucking rat trap, just the old fashioned one, the spring in the balsa wood. Spring went, 2 mice dead at once. And one of them was only caught by the tail. Must have broke its back when it snapped its tail, you know. So one's caught by the neck and one's just trapped by the tail, and 2 dead in one click, and both instantaneous. No wriggling, no nothingness. But it used to upset me, taking a life. It's like the time I had a mouse trap primed, and it was in the other part of the tent. It wasn't in the bedroom, it was in the main part, and I'd moved it out of the way because the dog, again, this was when she could walk, and I'd put it outside the tent, and then it was in the way again a bit later, so I lifted it up and I put it on I had a chest of drawers out there, like a dressing table. Long story, don't ask. So I'd put it on top of this thing. No, it wasn't that. It was on top of the barbecue. I had a barbecue with the oil drum shape, you know, then it had the 2 shells next to it, and I'd put it there, and I'd not deactivated it. And half an hour later, I'm inside the tent again, and there's this almighty ruckus. And I went outside, and I couldn't work out what was what, like something hitting metal, something soft hitting metal, but making quite a racket and quite a lot of movement. But it had subsided by the time I got out of the door. When I got out there's a fucking blackbird hanging dead by the neck from the mouse trap. That brought a tear to the eye. I literally cried about that one. I pondered whether to eat it, because I thought that a death to no end, to no benefit, it was disrespectful. So I pondered whether to pluck it, gut it, and eat it, but I didn't in the end. It's not a skill I really have, but I thought about it. But I was sad that I'd taken a life, not just needlessly, but stupidly. I should have, when the mousetrap was in the way, I should have deactivated it. Used to trouble me the taking a life. But these mice plagued me for 3 fucking months last winter. Like December through to April, maybe. More than 3 months. And in the end, I was so fucking annoyed with them. I was so sick of them. I got a chopping board here next to my bed. It's on top of a box, but it gives a flat surface to put things on. But imagine you've had a snack in bed. You've had a sandwich or something, and everything's wrapped up, everything's tight, but you didn't want to like get back out and go put things away at 2 or 3 in the morning. So you just put it down. You wake up in the morning and there's fucking mouse droppings around on the chopping board. At like 18 inches from your head. 50 centimeters for you metric folk. I'm British. We're a mixture. We use metric sometimes and old money the other times. Oh, do you know what I haven't done? I haven't turned the Christmas tree back off. I'll give you a final look at it. I must turn it off though because the eco flow will be draining. So there it is. You got the tennis racket of death in view as well. But I got to I'll turn this back to me, and I'll try and connect with the tablet and turn that off and assess how much power it used in this time. We're down to 85. It's used a good 10% of the eco flow in this hour or so that it's been on. It doesn't really. It only uses about 20 watts, but it's the 30 watt overhead for having the inverter on for producing 220 volt AC. That's the cost in terms of the power. Mice make excellent room centers. You've been watching Asmongold or something where he had a rotting animal in his house and the sun in the morning striking I think it was a possum or something, might have been a rat, but the room on the dead animal, the sun on the dead animal created a vapor, and that's how he woke up each morning with his nostrils twitching. I do like Asmongold, but Frank Nadovity, hello my friend. Good to see you. Long-term living in tents. I'd make a wooden frame for the door. Until now, I've not been able to get out and gather resources. I used to have, I built a bed way back. I built a bed off the ground before I built a shelter or anything. That was the first thing I built, a bed off the ground. Piles of bricks and cross beams, and then I found 4 planks by a bin one day. Really big, thick, sturdy, inch and a half thick, 5 or 6 inches or more wide. More, I guess 8. They were real sturdy planks. One of them was a bit bendier than the others. But yeah, building a bed was the first thing I did. Then after that, 6 broom handles in the ground and a tarpaulin over the top. Building structures out of wood. I do have some wood here at the minute. Again, this was someone was throwing a bed away. A fly tipper was throwing a bed away. So I've got all of and it was a decent one. This wasn't the thin, flimsy slats. These are proper planks. A lot of screws in them that I was supposed to take out a while ago and never did. I got those to lift these mattresses off the ground, but then my friend Karen and her husband were driving past a bin and they found actual bed frames, minus the legs, but the actual metal frames, again with good wooden planks, wooden slats across. So my bed's now 3 or 4 inches off the ground, and then I've got 2 mattresses, one on top of the other. So yeah, it's we're building a wooden frame for a door. I'm not sure. A, skills, B, resources and tools, and people have suggested building a hut, you know what I mean, building some sort of shanty shack. I think a structure like that would bring the authorities down on me again, but I don't know. Sign of nature, Jester Wiker. What have I missed? It's just a follow on from the mice comment. Do you deep fry the mice or dip them in chocolate? Again, I swore I was so angry at that last batch when they ran me ragged for months. I did swear I was going to eat them. My chosen way would have been just to hold them in the flame and kind of spit roast them. Not even sure whether I would have gutted them or not, because I've seen people. What's the guy called with the website? Outdoor Boys. Uh, he just used to, put them in the fire, burn the fur off. Don't think he gutted them or anything. I think he just ate them, ate the head and everything, skull, because they're only small, they're only flimsy. So if there's anything bad in their stomach, it's not going to be. It's not like their guts are that big. So I seriously, I swore blind I was going to eat them, but then we caught 6 on the first day. I thought that was a bit overwhelming. I didn't do it. Yeah, the spring traps stapled. You basically got a spring stapled into a bit of flimsy. Like I said, I don't know my terms for the bits of wood, but and the hook, the retaining clip that holds them back, and then the little paddle that triggers it, little trigger mechanism. But yeah, if they go off, well, sometimes they'll go off just because the staples have pulled out of the wood. But sometimes the thing going off accidentally, like in a tent, the wall of the tent can hit them because you have to put them next to the wall because mice move around the perimeter of a room. They stick to the edges mainly. I did stomp one on the head once when it ran across the middle of a room. Didn't feel good about that either, folks. It was like an instinctive reaction to kind of kick out and stomp. And while I was doing it, I thought, you got no chance. They're so fast, you're not going to squash. Oh, fuck. I squashed it and it kind of exploded. There was a blood smear on the floor from it. This shit used to really affect me. I was a normal townie, a softie when it comes to dispatching animals and things. Now I'm watching videos and reading up on how to dispatch rabbits and rabbit farming and quail rearing, quail breeding. You just take a pair of scissors and cut the head off the quail. That's really interesting. And then because I'm thinking of quail, I'm thinking mealworms to feed them. This is all for when I get back to civilization. This is not for here in the field. But then you start thinking, if you had some kind of garden, what crops would you grow to survive the apocalypse, or just to survive, just to reduce your expenditure on food? All these thoughts, and just because I've got a lot of time and I'm watching a lot of crap on YouTube. So that was Steve. That was Mirror. I just tossed some fresh cab. Well, it's a good job you go on to explain, because I wouldn't have had the foggiest. It's a pest repellent and kind of smells like fresh cut balsam fir. Yeah, they say that anything strong scented can be an irritant to them. But how long does stuff stay strong scented? I don't know. If anyone's ever put potpourri down in a bowl in a room, it smells great the first half hour. Mice won't touch beer. I fucking wouldn't let them. White bread from the supermarket. Nothing in fucking nature will touch it. Mice, rats, pigeon, nothing. I've said before, I had a pack of the end. I had the last 2 or 3 slices in a pack out on the table there for 6 months. Didn't even go mouldy. Not to prove the point, I took one of the slices out and just put it out. Nothing. I don't know whether this is just Spain. This was a Mercadona white sliced loaf. What they call a familiar, pan familiar. So the family loaf, the sliced white. 27 slices apparently. Nothing in nature touches that shit. Not mold, no funguses, no ants, no fucking nothing. It's incredible. Consume for the caramel vodka. Hello, Karen. I didn't know you were here. I was about to ask, have you just arrived, but it would be 20 minutes ago or more. 25 minutes ago. You might not even still be here. Consume. Now I've got to work out where my nearest consume is. Down to 222 and turn right. Is it? I'd have to look on Google Maps to see, because I drove somewhere. No, I didn't drive somewhere. I went somewhere with someone and we passed a supermarket that didn't used to be there. There are supermarkets appearing, all sorts of things appear that didn't used to be. When I came to Spain, you couldn't find a fucking cash machine, ATM, cash card. You couldn't find one. You had to go into the centre of town and actually into a bank. Most of the machines were inside the banks. They didn't have many on the outside walls. You had to go in. There'd be like there'd be an outer door that was open all night with the cash machines inside, like a vestibule, a hallway, and then you'd go through a second door to get to in the day to go into the bank proper. But over here in this part of Torrevieja, Aguas Nuevas and stuff, there weren't any. And then one appeared outside a bank one time, and then these freestanding ones started appearing. These blue and yellow rip-off ones, where they rob you on the exchange rates and charge you fees for accessing foreign banks and things. And then one appeared on the side of a pub on Avenida de la Mancha, which is a fairly big road around these parts, near where Tweeties is. In fact, downstairs from Tweeties. There's a pub and part of the same, well, a cafe bar, and part of the same institution, the same organisation. They have these gambling rooms. Think slot machine arcade, but where the slot machines now, you can place bets on real football matches and things. It's all because it's all internet connected. I never really. I walked through one once because it also had a cafe and I was placing an order, but I'm not a slot machine kind of person since I was a kid, and spent too much money on them. Any tips for those who struggle now and again around mental health or general well-being? I find that on a rare occasion when I drink too much, I get depressed. Or I hesitate to use the word depressed because that needs a medical diagnosis. But yeah, don't if you're struggling, get out and about, exercise, and don't be doing drink or drugs. No experience of drugs, but other people I've spoken to. Try and keep a positive mental attitude, but I know I've had one or two instances where you just feel literally, when you get a tingle in your head and you feel like the chemical, you feel the rush move around your body. That's like a nice feeling of chemicals move around your body. But I've had actual negativity coinciding with just a funk. I'm going to call it a depression because it could well be. They used to say depression was a brain chemical imbalance or disorder. They've now started arguing that's not the case. Latest science. So that throws into dispute the definition of depression. But get into a forest, into a park, so trees, grass and trees. Get near water, lakes or the sea. Exercise, long walks help. Obviously, I'm not talking about my last 18 months because I haven't had any of that. But those are the things that I found that help when I'm in a funk, when I'm in a Like I said, I don't know whether to use the word depression or not. See, I get down sometimes, but I think I have every reason to be down. when you look at how I'm living, and something that I would have advised myself if I was capable of taking the fucking advice, try and stay on top of keeping things organized, keeping things clear and clean. I fail at all that. I'm living in a shit tip. And I did start to clean it the other week, and I felt good for 3 or 4 days while I was doing a bit here and a bit there. But it's all back again now. You've seen the way that stuff's piled up on my chair. That was a big central feature that I wanted to clear. I wanted to empty my chair, and now it's got a fucking Christmas tree on there, and a bag of dog food, and excuse me, a pile of dirty clothes, I think, unless I moved them. A load of newspapers I seem to have, because I've read the paper but not finished the puzzles, I'm keeping the whole paper. I maybe just need to pull out the puzzle page and get back on that kind of thing as well. Look, when you're talking about trying to handle depression or mental health type situations, puzzles, Sudoku, crosswords, quizzes, those silly ones where they give you 9 letters and you have to, make the biggest words you can, or as many words. I'm never a fan of the many words as you can. Don't want to sit here making a million 3-letter words. But finding the 9-letter word in under a minute, countdown style. Is it a minute or 30 seconds on countdown? I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've watched it because I'm not in the UK. Oh God, we're all tired, folks. We're only an hour and a quarter in, are we? Try and keep going. But yeah, get your mind active, get your body active. Try and get near nature. Fields, trees, forests, woods, whatever you want to call them, lakes, rivers, water, the sea, whatever you've got near you, would be my advice. I'm not the biggest expert on it because I don't generally suffer. People tell me sometimes that I've got a positive attitude and they don't know how I get by. And, I kind of think that when I am on a downer, it's usually for a reason. It's usually justified. So I feel entitled to be a bit down sometimes. Like when the police were giving me shit. Or the kids were throwing stones and the tent was getting broken. Or at least the tabs were. Bet you ain't got mittens. I did have gloves at one point. I got better than mittens. I've got these elasticated, they're not really they're like a cross between slippers and a sock. So in the old days, a couple of years ago, I think I was still outside. This was before I spotted one of them under my chair the other day. Are they Star Wars or are they Marvel superheroes? I only know where one of them is. I assume the other one is in a similarly situated on the floor over there somewhere under the chair. But they elasticate and just go over whatever socks or whatever you've got on your feet already. So I used to have a problem when we slept outside of my feet getting cold. And if your feet feel cold, the rest of your body does. You can't shake that cold feeling once you've got cold feet. And I wasn't in a tent. I didn't even have a shelter at the time. I had a like a yoga mat, one of those thin mattresses from the lounges that go around the swimming pools. 2 picnic blankets, plastic on the outside and blankety on the inside. Wrap those around. A few towels inside those to be like little blankets inside the picnic blankets. And later on, I got the odd blanket and the odd quilt, and I got a small tarpaulin, my original tarpaulin, 3 meters by 2 meters, that tucked nicely just under the bed on all sides, under a single bed on all sides. So there's me and the doggy on this thin. Well, you know what a recliner looks like a deck chair but flatter, and the mattress that goes on one of those. Me and the doggy on one of those with this with this setup. I literally called it my bed system. It was like an art setting it up, and it would cover from the bottom of the bed and tuck under up, and it would pull over my head in case of rain. But it just fit all ways round, all four sides. And yeah, if my feet were cold, I had these slipper things. But I have had gloves at times. I found gloves next to bins. Don't think I've got any at the minute. Although it wouldn't surprise me if I started digging around in certain bags and boxes that are just over there. It wouldn't surprise me entirely if there's some. Here's something that I should have and can't find. I had a set of tea lights, 50 tea lights that I'd found next to a bin. And I had a candle in here the other week. A citronella candle. The pot should still be here, but isn't. Oh, look at that, my soaps. My liquid soap's falling over. Bag of salt. You'd be amazed what I've got next to the bed. But I've lost the little pot that the candle was in. Only burnt for 3 days. 3 days times 3 hours, I think. But that was nice, having that citronella smell. Careful to keep it away from fabrics, very stable, nowhere near where the dog goes. The only thing that might have been a danger is this lamp while it stood up on things. But if I've got the lamp here, I wouldn't be using the candle. You know, if the candle's on, then the lamp is probably over the other side of the tent charging. So yeah, I bet you ain't got mittens. I wouldn't be surprised, maybe not mittens, but gloves. I wouldn't be surprised if I do. -20 where Frank is up in North. Is it Vermont or New Hampshire? I think it's Vermont. My money's on Vermont. Remind me, mate. Remind me, because you know how bad my memory is. Yeah, they call it a cold moon, aren't they? I don't know why. It's a super moon. It's the highest in the sky. Highest in the sky or maximum distance from Earth or nearest to, what do they call them? Apogee and... Oh, what's the other one? No, not perihelion, because it doesn't go around the sun. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's very, very bright outside. I had to step outside to empty something earlier. And it was a piss pot, yeah. I had to step outside, and it was almost daylight out there. I cast a shadow. There was a moonlight shadow. I almost burst out singing, and now I'm trying to remember who sang it. Wasn't Katrina on the Waves, was it? I got to check now, folks. I can't let that go. Moonlight Shadow. Just bear with me. Hey, I press into the search bar, and instead of just letting me type, it takes me to another page where I have to press into the search bar again. Moonlight Shadow. Song. Singer. Scottish vocalist Maggie Riley and Mike Oldfield. Yeah, I knew it wasn't. Never heard of her. Okay. I was wrong, but I knew I was wrong. Catch fish with white bread. I got a couple of fishing rods here, but I don't know how to work them. It's not my thing. A friend took me one day. We tried it, and the coastline here is quite rugged and wavy. There's a lot of vegetation. We kept getting caught up on. I don't know if it's banks of seaweed or if it's something else in the water. A lot of stones, not stones, rocks, and yeah, we kept having to cut away the hooks and lines. Um, uh, Frank has to use a card to enter the area where the ATM is. Okay. Is that just your normal ATM card, or is it a separate card you have to apply for or something? Folks used to sleep in banks in Spain. Okay. I never even thought of that. Then again, me and the dog probably would have been, yeah. Karen's cat would eat the nose, leave the nose part of the mouse and its tail. How come I've jumped forward past that? It leaves you a little present. It's worse when they bring them back still alive and release them inside the house. Lol to you keeping it tidy. I know. It doesn't happen. But it's an aspiration, and if someone is going through a tough time, keeping on top of things and not letting them get out of hand in the first place would be my advice. Even though I don't live up to the aspiration myself. If you feel down in winter, you need a daylight bulb. Be a seasonal affected disorder. I don't think I feel down specifically. I don't like the long nights and the short days. But that's not as bad in Spain as it is in the UK. So they both get light about 8 o'clock at peak darkness. But that's because Spain calls 7 o'clock 8 o'clock. We get 2 hours more daylight, I think, don't we? Gets light at 8, goes dark approximately 6. The UK gets dark at 8, gets light at 8 and goes dark about 4 or half 3 to 4, somewhere in there. But yeah, Spain's offset by an hour because of the way that they ridiculously alter their time zones to try and be Central European. Keep things tidy, tidy home, tidy mind. I'd prefer to keep things empty, empty home, empty mind. It was Vermont, so that's where I pumped my money in the end. You said your first major snow of the year. So your normal ATM card gets you in the door and then you use it in the machine. But if the homeless person's got an ATM card, they're still in. So then you have the security monitoring. By camera or by turning up and shining torches in the door? Karen's working tomorrow night. That's unusual. Have you got a backlog? Did you miss too much work coming over here again? Light at 7, dark at 4 where Frank is. That's interesting. Because where I'm from is further north than you. Well, the entirety of Britain is further north than the entirety of America, apart from Alaska. So I should rephrase that. The entirety of Great Britain is further north than the contiguous United States. Which I found hard to believe when I learnt it, but it is true. Now, where I'm from in the north of England, it was after 8 in the morning when it got light. I'd be waiting for the bus at 8 o'clock and there'd still be another 5 or 10 minutes. It would get light while I was on the bus. And I'd come out of the office at 5 and it had already been dark for an hour or more. Although Dalton Square is really pretty with the Christmas lights. Once you hit December. Dalton Square in Lancaster, next to the town hall. Oh, I am working tomorrow and night, everyone, are separate sentences. You're not working tomorrow night. I misunderstood. See how easily that is? That's done. A bit of punctuation would have helped me there. I'm working tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Good night, Karen. Catch you later. Or catch you next time. Monitors by cameras, the bank. Yeah. I guess that's cheaper and easier than driving around and taking a big dog with you and all of the things that that security do. It gave me an arrow indicating that there were more messages, but there weren't. Okay, folks, what are we going to talk about next? Did I answer all of those questions thoroughly, or did I jump from topic to topic? Vermont, have you still got red leaves on all the trees, or have they fallen? Are all of the leaves on the ground by now and rotting? I don't know if people outside of America know, but Vermont and New Hampshire, I think, are famous for their autumnal tree colours and tree displays. Just scrolling back to check I haven't missed anything. Doesn't look like it. You think the polar vortex arrives tomorrow? I thought it was still something that was brewing and was off in the distance. At the minute, isn't there a chance of the auroras? The sun let out a big burp a day or two ago, didn't it? And there's a significant chance of northern lights as far south as some of the American states. So probably the whole of the UK for once could potentially see. I haven't looked. There's no chance it would get this far south. We got very clear sky out there though, and a very full moon. I don't think I've ever seen them. I'd know, wouldn't I? If I'd seen them, I would know. I've never been fortunate enough to see the Northern Lights. So yeah, I don't know. Who's out there? There are people lurking. There's 13 of you, but only 2 or 3 chatting. 12 thumbs up. If you're there, folks, and you haven't hit the button, always appreciated. Don't think we're going to hit 20, but it's worth trying for. It just jumped. I was looking through some chat messages and it just jumped to the bottom. Hold on. That wasn't there. When I read the Mittens comment, the one about Costco selling little homes for $3,000. I was just looking at that. I didn't read it, but I saw the the intro of the article. Where would you put them? Are they for putting on? You've already got property and you've got a house and you've got a large garden, so you put another one there, or is it for people who live in fields? Could a tramp acquire one? Postage might be a bit much. I don't know. That message wasn't there when I was back there, though. Or at least, I don't think it was. There's Karen saying consume for the caramel vodka. Yeah, caramel vodka. That was so Moorish. I'm surprised I made that last as long as I did. The caramel vodka. I don't know why the bottle's still here. David said, seen a lot of police lights. I don't want to see any. Keep them away from me. Auroras are fine. Police lights, not so much. Hello, babe. Hello. You're going to come say hello to the people, your fans. You had your back to them before. Let me see whether I can entice her to stay on camera. Is she? Oh, well, that's not going to work, is it? I can't have the camera facing me and try and make it work. Here she is. And it went blurry. Adjust the focus. Hey, babe. Yeah. Can I get a cuddle? Can I get a cuddle? Hey. Show everyone how cute you are. Yeah. It's so warm. Not as warm. You're wanting to go back under, aren't you? You're going under. You're going underground. Go on then. I'll go back to me. But that was Tina. Tina. Have you seen her? I've got a girl called Tina. Tina. I have seen her. Let me pull the covers up a bit, darling. Nope. Hit the tent. Okay, folks. Let me. Okay, I'm up to date with chat. I need more of you to talk to me, folks. Let's get some topics of conversation. What bait worked best for the mice? It was definitely the burger relish, American burger relish, bright orange. That's the one trap. When I killed about 10 within 3 or 4 days, it was one specific trap that got them. So I had 2 with burger relish, and I had 2 with, what did I put in the other one? It might have been ranch. I'd have to check my notes from back in the day. But it was this one particular trap that kept getting them. So it could just have been position. I think it turned out, it took me ages to spot it. There was a hole coming up through the floor where they'd tunneled under. Like maybe they'd had a nest underneath, directly under, and they'd come up and they'd bitten through the floor of the tent, and through underneath the tent there's a carpet or a rug, and all of the floors of my old tents I've kept, so that there's multiple layers of tents and old tent floors and old rugs or carpets, and they'd bitten up and through, and yeah. So this mouse trap that worked. There was another one just similarly close, but with a different bait. So I don't know whether it was the bait or whether it was just location. Mixing poison and plaster of Paris. What was the other one people told me about? Just mixing flour, mixing flour and bicarbonate of soda. So when it hits their stomach, it does the gas thing, and bursts their stomach open. Poisons. I've got a dog. I have to be careful. If she was to come across a dead mouse and eat the mouse. There are also cats that I want. I've always tried to encourage the cats into this field, and again, poisoned mice might poison the cats. Yeah, not sure. Because I thought about getting like rat poison or down in the holes where the mice were coming up. And I knew Tina wouldn't be like going down the hole, but if she finds a dead mouse, there's nothing to stop her eating it. So I didn't want to risk that. Rat statues. That's a little bit Pompeii-esque, isn't it? Yeah, I do. When you've got an infestation of them, you eventually learn not to be too worried about cruelty to the fuckers. They tortured me for over 3 months, and I mean tortured. Um, when I built my first shelter, I had them running along the edge of the fucking bed. I've told the tale. I've told the tale about the cardboard wine. Um, Comes in what they call a brick over here. It's a Tetra Pak. I took the top off my wine one time, and I went to pour. I'm in the dark, but I went to pour, and somehow I'm missing the glass. I had actual glasses back then rather than plastic. I had glass that I'd found next to a skip. But anyway, and so I turn a light on, and I can see that the spout from the cardboard box, proper turn lid, screws on and off. I can see it's over the glass, and I still miss and pour down. It hits and lands on my foot. Stood up, well, crouched actually. My tent was only a meter and a bit high, just over a meter, but with a curved ceiling, with a curved roof, tree branches, six broom handles, and the tarp put over. Obviously, for the first few days, I had a concave roof. But then I got some branches, put stakes in the ground, tied the branches to the stakes, bent them over, and tied them to form arches that created a like a dome on my tent, rather than so make it convex rather than concave. And anyway, so I was stood but hunched, crouched, and I'm pouring, and I'm somehow missing, and it's landing on my foot. And when I looked, they've bit the corner off the Tetra Pak to see or sample, just to get a smell of what's in there. So they've bit the corner of the pack, and obviously it's no use to them. They didn't want it. But I'm trying to pour the wine out of the Tetra Pak, out of the box, into the glass, and it's missing because it's not coming out the spout. It's coming out the fucking corner. I did get like a growing admiration for them, but you can't. They're unhealthy to be around. They carry diseases and things. There I saw Rose arriving, freezing in Seacroft, Leeds. Why were you warm out there? Fairly. I'm still only in a t-shirt. I mean, I've got 4 covers over me, and I'm cuddling a dog. So, but I'll tell you the temperature because I haven't checked. It says it's 12, but that's bollocks. It's way colder than 12. When we get into winter proper, it can be 3 degrees colder here by the sea, and in this, we're in a bit of a depression, bit of a hollow. At the bottom, and we're at the bottom of 2 hills. It can be 3 or more degrees cooler than what the weather forecast says. I'm just glancing around to see if my thermometer's still here, but I don't think it is. Everything drifts that way and falls off the bottom of the bed in the end. It says 12, but that's bull. I can feel, just holding the tablet, I can feel it's a lot colder than that. And tomorrow's not going to have any sunshine. Oh, a slight possibility at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No, it's not too cold where I walked the dog at 10 o'clock, and I just went like this. I didn't put my snood on or my jumper. My hands are cold. I was maybe thinking about putting a jumper on. Maybe I'll do that, folks, because I'm trying to sit up. I've been slouching too much. I'm getting a bad back because I've been walking Tina and putting her in a chariot every day. She's heavy, and positioning her and getting her legs into the stirrups and into the machine and strapped in with the harness isn't easy. So I'm doing things at a stretch with a heavy load. I think she weighs about 35 kilos. What's that in old money? About 70, 80 pounds, maybe? 80 pounds. That's a lot to be acting at arm's length and manoeuvring around. Is that the right jumper? There's a second one here. I'm not sure which is which. Okay, I've got the snood on. I'm going to put the jumper on as well. That is cold. That's been touching the side of the tent. It might even be damp. So I've gone from saying, oh, I wasn't too bad, to talking myself into putting the snood and the jumper on, so that I can sit up and talk to you guys without slouching too much. Oh. I don't know. Hey, babe. Tina's under the covers, but she's not really cuddling me at the minute. What are we saying? We're losing power. Hold on. The lamp isn't plugged in, so it's fading. I think that's what's happening. That one. Yeah, look at that. That's not holding. That's not staying. The 12-volt adapter in the cigarette socket keeps bouncing out. That's a little bit brighter than it was, isn't it? Let me see what's what. I'll grab a quick drink. I shall say cheers to those that have hit the thumbs up. Thank you very much. That's appreciated. But really, cheers to all of you. Thank you for being here. It was a short notice stream. It wasn't really planned. There are indeed 12-volt electric blankets, David. And they don't have to be that low powered, really. You can draw 10 amps through a 12-volt socket. So that gives you 120 watts. From what I understand, most electric blankets are, they might go as high as 100 in total, I think, but they generally operate on about 40 or 50 watts. I've got an actual electric blanket that works off the 220-volt circuit here, but it's the overhead of having the inverter on to convert the DC to AC. That uses almost as much as the electric blanket itself. Yeah, but I do have an electric blanket. I've only used it once for real, tested it twice other than that. But that was right at the back end of last winter. What have I got under me? David remembers as a kid seeing tiny footprints in the kitchen frying pan. I've had that. But my frying pan was outside. I think it was birds rather than mice. Oh, Rosie, you're not working. You're not doing a night shift. You're in the house and feel like you're outside. Better put the heating on. Absolutely. If you're cold enough, put the heating on. If I hear talk of this Arctic, what they call it? It's not an Arctic inversion. What was it? This polar vortex business? I'm sure it was called an Arctic inversion in the past, wasn't it? In America, they had that where rivers and waterfalls were freezing. It might be about 10 or 15 years ago now. What's the difference between a polar vortex and an Arctic inversion? Have we just rebadged the same shit? That's my bet. Let's see what Google's AI says, because that's an interesting question. Probably Arctic Inversion doesn't exist anymore. They've probably just rebranded. Arctic. Can I spell? Yeah. Inversion. Versus with a V and an S. I'm not typing the whole bloody word. Arctic Inversion versus Polar Vortex. Let's have a see. The AI thing kicks in with an answer. Oh god, it's a long answer. An Arctic inversion is a weather phenomenon where a layer of warmer air sits above a layer of colder air, creating stable conditions, while a polar vortex is a large area of strong cold air circulation high in the atmosphere. Does that really answer my question? While distinct, they are related. Well, how? A stable, strong polar vortex keeps cold Arctic air contained, which can create an Arctic inversion near the surface. Oh, that's too convoluted for me. Whereas a disrupted polar vortex can send cold air south. That's what we're facing, isn't it? It's not it's not a polar vortex. It's a lack of a polar vortex. Let's have a look. Oh, that's too. I wanted a quick and easy to understand answer. I didn't want an essay. Yeah, I think they're related but opposite. Is the long and short of what they're saying. What have I got going on here? That's something under my backside that's causing me a sick crooked. What is it? One of my many and varied pillows. Ah. Oh, get comfy. Okay, now I'm really wrapped up, aren't I? I've gone from saying that I was okay and not cold to being all huddled and can I just rotate slightly so I can work the wire wool in holes works well. Blocking mouse holes, is that what we're talking about? What's that? Why have I got? I should have turned. I forgot to put. What the heck? Hold on, folks. Hold everything. Oh, Rose. Thank you. But okay. I get a plink from the PayPal app, and I get a plink from Gmail when I get the. I'm not sure why I get a plink from them about receiving an email, because I receive hundreds. I don't know why that one gets a noise. So I had two things happening on two different devices. The same thing, the same two things. Just got to scroll back and see if I haven't missed. There was Karen going, so I'm okay. Freezing in Seacroft. Put the heating on. Yeah. How cold? Let me. Okay. You see, now that you've told me the name of a place, I won't look up specifics, but I'll look up leads. Weather leads. See, now I'm spying on you. Now I'm stalking you. 4 degrees. Feels like 2. Yeah, that's cold. Mine said 12, didn't it? There's no way it's bloody 12 degrees here. I can hardly hold on to. I can hardly hold on to the tablet. It's cold. Current draw would be high. This is electric blanket. A 10 amps by 12 volts gets you 120 watts. I'd be dubious about plugging that into in an actual car. You might blow the fuse depending on the depending on the fuse, and how well regulated your power output is. Something like an EcoFlow, I'd be confident enough to plug something like that in. My fridge freezer plugs in. That only I've never seen it go above 50 watts output. So that's only really that's probably 4 amps, because these things are never really 12 volts, are they? They're like 12.8 or 13 volts, really, regulated. So yeah. Does the tent freeze? How do you keep it warm? No, we've never actually had anything freeze. It got down to 4 degrees one year. Well, the weather forecast was for 4 degrees. I can't rule out the fact that it might have been a degree or two cooler, certainly outside the tent. How do I keep it warm? What I need to do to keep it warm. So at the minute, one of my doors doesn't close properly. And also, the bedroom door is wide open. In summer, I was struggling to keep the dog cool, so I had to have the fan on at times. We were alternating, put the electric fan on or not, and so I opened the door up to let that air come in. At the minute, so I've got 2 mattresses, and the top one has kind of slid off. Everything's sliding that way, and there's a literal slope because that end's gone off. And the things that I put down on my bed just work their way down there. I need to take all the junk off the bed and from around the bed, pick the mattress up slightly and curl it, and ram it in about 18 inches bed and ram it in 18 inches. Shut up. You're telling your own jokes now. I need to do that though. I need to move this top mattress this way. Then I can close or at least partially close the bedroom door. And that just body heat will keep it warmer. The 2 of us in here, me and Tina, my doggy darling. That'll be about, 130 kilograms between us, probably. If I'm back up to my weight, I've no idea whether I am or not. I lost a third of my body weight when I was first homeless. Down from 100 kilos to 67. I've no idea. I know I've put some of it back on, but I've no idea how much. But between me and the doggy, there's 130 kilos, probably a bit more. Don't ask me what that is in pounds. Don't ask me what that is in stones. I couldn't. I'd have to get a calculator on it, or a calculator app. Multiply 130 by 2.2, 260. Add 10%. That's another 26. 262. Call it 290. Hold on, 290 pounds. Is that just me? Was that? That was the both of us. That was me and the dog. Don't know why I did that. I should have just done me. 100 kilos is 220, obviously. 220 pounds divided by 14. I haven't got a Scoobies. 14 times 14 is 196. You can add another bit on top of that, can't you? So yeah, 15, I don't know, 15 stones, my guess. No idea. I haven't used stones in so long. Or stone. You don't even pluralize it, do you? No clue, folks. No clue. Does the tent freeze? I've been camping before and it's not warm in a tent. I would say that this tent was intended to be a summer tent because when the wind blows, it comes right through the walls. I've had the wind on my back half the day today. And that's despite there being tarps down to the ground. almost surrounding the whole thing. Yeah, camping can be cold. I'm lucky. I've got. I kind of got. I don't know whether to class this top one as a blanket or a quilt. If it's a quilt, I've got 3 quilts and a blanket folded double. I've got a dog in the bed with me, literally lying alongside me, and well, she's curled up slightly just to be awkward. I've got an electric blanket if I need it. I can make hot water. I've got hot water bottles. I've got a hot water bottle and a cushion and some empty plastic bottles I can put hot water in. I've got clothing. I've got my scarf thing, whatever the word is, snood. I've got my snood. I've got multiple jumpers available to me. I am only wearing one long sleeve t-shirt and one jumper, but I have options. When the sun's out in an afternoon, I'll start to close the doors a little bit earlier than I would in summer, and try and keep the heat in. It's generally all right. You get used to the cold after a while. It's a little bit tricky when autumn first starts because you've had 40 and 50 degrees heat all summer. 40 outside at most, but inside the tent can hit 50 because it's like a greenhouse. So then when winter comes or autumn comes and you've got that sudden drop in temperature, and this year seems to have been more sudden than most, you do feel it. Not as badly as I would if I went back to the UK. That I would feel. I've got no idea how I would cope with that shit. Ever thought about a small wind turbine to charge batteries during winter short days? Everything I've read about small wind turbines says that you need to put them high up on a big pole to avoid turbulence. And you have to turn them off and lock them up if the winds get too strong. They're easily damaged. Just like the big ones. They have to be locked up when the winds get too strong. No, I haven't really considered wind turbine. Well, I've read up on it, thought it through and dismissed it. If it was an issue, then an extra solar panel would be the answer. Except this EcoFlow can't take. I'm still hitting 80 and 90 watts from a 100-watt panel at some points. This particular model of EcoFlow, the EcoFlow River 2, couldn't take another panel that was getting serious sunlight, serious sunshine. Obviously, if I was getting 30 or 40 watts, a second panel to double up to make it bring in 80 would be an option. But at the moment, it would mean connecting and disconnecting panels all the time. Basically, somewhere between 10 o'clock and 10:30, I'm suddenly hitting 60 and 70 watts, and then it, just depending on cloud coverage or not, it gets better. If I got really stuck and it was an emergency, I could ask somebody. There are some people in the houses at the bottom of the road. I could hand them the EcoFlow and the plug, the cable. It can be plugged into the mains and charged from mains if anybody is willing so to do. But I would have to be going through something like 3 days without any solar before it became an issue, unless I've totally screwed up managing my power. Falling asleep, leaving the fridge freezer on. Oh, excuse me. Falling asleep with the fridge freezer on is my biggest issue at the minute. So I'm trying not to do that. Basically trying not to use it at night, so it's not even a risk of happening. Even though it's set to go down to -15, but that's like an instantaneous temperature. I don't mind if it hits 7, 8, 9 degrees positive. There's nothing in there that's going to go bad at those kind of temperatures. through the day when I can manage the power, I'll keep it hovering around 0 as the real temperature. So when it tells me it's on -15 and I turn it off, within quarter of an hour it's back hovering around 0. That's all I need. That's all I really need. I don't really need anything frozen. I just want to use it intermittently and maintain a fridge-like temperature. And I know your household fridge would be around 3 degrees. You wouldn't be around 8 or 9, but nothing that I've got is going to go bad at that. Nothing I've currently got. If I was to buy a rabbit for cooking that was in there, I'd be wanting to keep meat cooler. I'd have to keep that hovering around the 0 rather than letting it get to 8 or 9 degrees at night. What's going on, babe? I can uncover you. Whoa! Steady. I'll cuddle you like a teddy. Don't stay out of bed too long. You'll get cold. Got to look after my girl. Small motor with car alternator pack. I got a cable that will charge this from a 12-volt socket. So I could plug into a car that had its engine running and charge from the 12-volt socket in the car. It would be a little bit slow go. No, it would need about 2 hours to charge from dead to full. I'd be getting about 120 watts from the car, and it stores about 250 watt hours. So roughly speaking, just over 2 hours running from a car's cigarette lighter port. If the car had if there was an inverter running from the car, which you can get such things now, then it would charge within an hour. I can't remember what rate it charges at when it's charging from AC, when it's got AC coming in. I think I can find out because there are options in the app to slow it down and do it more steadily or safely. Let's have a look. AC charging speed. I've got set limited to 250 watts, but it can go to 360 from the looks of things. It'd only take about 2/3 of an hour to fully charge. From dead to be fully charged, it can be done in 40 minutes from the looks of the numbers. Yeah, that's right. Now you know. I mean, with hindsight, it would have been great to have got a Delta EcoFlow Delta. I think it was Delta 2 at the time, was it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the Delta 2 was out when I got this. Probably, if this is the River 2. Delta came first. That's a tremendous piece of hardware. Again, EcoFlow software and firmware. A little bit dicey, but the hardware is cutting edge, leading tech. I can't remember how much the EcoFlow Delta 2 holds. Base model is probably 1 kilowatt hour, but you can probably get 2, maybe 2.5 kilowatt hour versions of it. Can't quite remember. Lithium iron phosphate. LiFi-Po 4. Or LiFi-Po 4. Tapping into street lights, there be danger. there be danger. Because their power is daisy chained, they have to carry an incredible amount of voltage or amps. Not sure which way round they go, but they be dragons. But none near me anyway, and I'm not technically minded enough to. I don't know what I'm doing with that shit. I'd probably either kill myself or blow up whatever I was plugging in. Unless we know a friendly electrician who wants to come and do something for me. Rose is off work for a couple of days, so might be here nagging. Oh, you're more than welcome. Where are we now? This is Wednesday, so I'm only here because Scrufdog had a power cut. Friday will be the next definite, well, as definite as these things get. The next definite show. Is it a show? I'm supposed to be doing a video every day, but I'm failing at that at the minute. Yeah, that's tricky. But no, you're more than welcome. If you're off on Friday night, I'll probably be here. A bit earlier than time. What time did I go live tonight? 11 my time. 11 my time. 10 UK. 5 PM East Coast stateside. Maybe best approximations I can do on the fly with the maths. You would think that subtracting 6 would be so difficult. But it can be, apparently. Okay. And we're only 2 hours in, 2.25 hours in. I just got to click top chat and live chat. Oh, here we go. There's a whole bunch that weren't there. There was that was the last one that was showing for me. Rose saying that she had days off. Mr. Sharafja is just here to drop a thumb and tell us to enjoy the stream. Cheers, Mr. S. No need to apologise, mate. Can't believe Scruff lost power, but glad you were streaming tonight, Delta Mike. Only because Scruff was. I was hesitating, and if he'd got his power back on and was streaming, I would have pointed people over that way and ended my stream. It's not my intention to tread on the toes of people that have helped me. So yeah. 5 PM Eastern US. Is that what I said, or did I get it wrong? You're either confirming what I said or correcting me because I got it wrong. There's always the risk that I subtract 6 from the UK time rather than from the Spanish, and then I've got an off by 1 error because, you know, it always amazes me when I watch these things back when I misspeak and sometimes you've got a thought in your head and you just say the wrong word. You say the word of a topic you were just thinking about and not the word of the topic you were talking about. MOSFETs and inverters can be temperamental. Chinese ones are overstressed and the cause of most inverter failure. Yeah. Chinese. Yeah, I've had quality issues with Chinese things. Like I said, the shop at the top of the road is this is a peculiarly Spanish thing, but basically you've got bricks and mortar Temus in Spain. The Chinese come over here, their family send them over, they come over, the family club together to get them over here, and then they all open these shops selling Chinese tat. And basically every street corner's got a Chino Bazaar, as they call them here. I don't think Chino is considered racist. If you just call them chin, that's that's considered a racial slur in Spain to call someone Chinese a chin. But chino is a correct word. Chino Bazaar is the generic term for all of these Chinese shops. They're like we used to have a shop called Dompty, which was like the other ones but with quality control. Most of these ones here don't bother with the quality control. So everything breaks. Oh god. Maybe I'm tireder than I thought, folks. Let me just scroll back. Check that Yeah, Scruff lost power. He said that he's got a small what's the word I'm looking for? A small generator to keep fridges and things powered if it doesn't come back on soon. But no EcoFlow Jackery Bluetti, not one of these power station things. I don't know what to call them. Power stations is not the right word. But then call them solar generators is entirely incorrect as well. Stop it, you fucker. Can you see the light flickering? It's because I can't get the 12-volt socket to stay. I don't even need that. I don't know why I'm using it. I'm not using all of the normal USB sockets. So why have I used the cigarette adapter to give me an extra couple of sockets? Because I was charging the 3 batteries for these lights before. I don't know if you can see them. So I was trying to charge 3 AA batteries at once. The ones that plug directly onto a USB-C, well, USB-A to C cable. I can't just use USB-C because nobody follows the fucking specs properly. Is the EcoFlow an American brand? That's an interesting question. Designed in America, built in China, programmed in China. The support, from what I could tell, I was dealing with maybe not China, but Philippines, Taiwan. I don't know, that somewhere over that way. So it's all over the place. But design and quality control supposedly through America. Head office, I'm not sure. So like for Americans, I don't know if they're going to be hit by tariffs and things when these things are imported. But this entire field of product has come on so much just in the last 3 years, 4 years. Lithium iron phosphate is the biggie. I mean, that's some of the earlier versions of these types of things. You could only charge them 400 or 500 times before you lost about 30% of the overall capacity. Now you could charge this every day for 10 years, and supposedly the battery will have lost, I think it's 10% of its original capacity. Everything else is going to be broken way before that. All of the ports and things are going to be, if you're using it like I am out in the real world, everything, USB ports go rusty, then they become loose, and then they just become flaky. Everything else will be bust. The fans inside that do the cooling during fast charging, these are all weaknesses and points of failure that will go long before the battery hits its 10-year to lose 10% hurdle or whatever, that benchmark. The BMS, the battery management system, will probably, my guess would be USB ports, fans and battery management system will take out more of these than battery chemistry longevity. Yeah. Those would be my guesses for what the failures will actually be. There's probably some fuses and stuff in there that could pop as well under certain circumstances. Frank Nadobody lives a stone's throw from local state officers and city police, so rarely loses power. Oh, I don't know. In Spain, in Torrevieja here, the police station loses power fairly regularly. When I first came here in the 90s, 97, 98, you used to lose power about 8 times a day. So that's improved. How long has the EcoFlow been working for me? I think it's about 18 months, if I try and trace it back. I got it just after I got the previous tent, which would be the March or the April, maybe early May of the year before, of last year. 18, I'll call it 18 months. So plus or minus 1 month. So it's worked well. Charged every day. I do take it up to 100%. I don't piss about with battery saving technology. Only charging to 80%. I've started doing that with my phone, but I don't do it with the EcoFlow. Supposedly you don't need to with lithium iron phosphate. Lithium iron, not lithium iron. My pronunciation, folks, my diction, whether you can tell the difference between ion as in ions and iron as in ferrous metal. But yeah, you don't have to worry too much about the battery technology in this stuff. What's the heaviest load I've given it? I guess when I was using the slow cooker. The slow cooker has 3 settings apart from off. It has just a warming setting that uses 40 or 50 watts. It has a low cooking which takes, I think, just shy of 100 watts. And it has a high which draws 160, I think. So bearing in mind, in full sunlight, we've only got 100, well, we've got a maximum of 100 coming in, and it'll burn through 160 at any point in time. And so once it gets low, you got to turn the slow cooker off and just let the battery charge back up a while. And then after a while, just try and maintain the heat while you're waiting for the battery to fully top off. And then go again. Keep the whole thing wrapped in silver foil and, not the EcoFlow, keep the slow cooker wrapped in silver foil to create a tight seal around the lid, try and keep the heat in. Wrap the whole thing in multiple towels. What did they used to call that? It was hay box cooking or something. Where you get a pan hot over the fire or over the hob, and then you put it in a wooden box packed with hay, so that you insulate it and it carries on cooking with the heat it's already got. Maintain the heat you've got rather than having to keep pumping more heat in. Hay box, something like that. Hay box cooking, or straw cooker maybe, might be the phrase. Anyway, yeah, try to do that in a field and trying to burn through as much power as you can and get things cooked. Making soups or stews. I used a slow cooker to make jacket potatoes back in the day. Last time I tried, I overloaded it, and I had a bad batch of potatoes that just didn't cook easily. Even in the frying pan, trying to make chips, French fries, didn't. They were just a very, I don't know whether that's very starchy or very waxy. I'm not up on my potato technology. I keep watching these restaurant guys, a restaurant called Fallow in London, and they go on and on about what type of potato. Oh, for this you need that kind of potato. The number of times I see these guys wash away all the starch from their potatoes, only to later add starch in. And I'm just, the fuck are you doing, lads? You just spent 10 minutes washing starch away and drying them in a pot towel, tea towel, whatever your preferred word is for these things. They spent 10 minutes faffing about washing away starch, and half an hour later they're sprinkling starch over their potatoes. Crazy. To me, I can't fathom it. Where was I? I was talking about the length of an eco-flow or something. What do you do in that compound all day when not live? Me and my field here. I get up in the morning, somewhere between 7 and 9, usually. I walk my doggy, sometimes just before daybreak and sometimes just after. Occasionally quite a bit after. I woke up one day, was it last week? I woke up at 9:30 in the morning and couldn't stir for the next half hour. Nearly 10 o'clock before I walked my girl. Fortunately, it had been after midnight when I'd last walked her, so it wasn't stressing her system too much to hang on. So take the dog for a walk, make a couple of cups of coffee, and then just, depending on the temperature, just lay down on the bed or in the bed, watch videos, learn. I'm watching a lot of cookery videos, farming and homesteading videos, entertainment. I've downloaded some Star Trek stuff, Deep Space Nine. I'm on season 3, or series 3 as we would call it in Britain. I'm watching slushy Christmas films at the minute, Christmas romance, holiday kind of films. Big tart that I am. The other night I was listening to Christmas carols. I was trying to conserve power. What else do I do through the day? Not a lot until recently. I'm trying to get out with Tina every day. I'm trying to make a thing of putting her in a chariot every day and taking her for a walk. But even that's a palaver. Before I put her in the chariot, in her wheelchair, I want to take her for a walk, let her do her ablutions, because I don't want to be picking her up and having her crapping or pissing all down my leg while I'm trying to get her into the wheelchair. And she wriggles and doesn't want to go in it. So it can be 5 or 10. So as well as the 5 minutes walking her up and down here, carrying her back end while we're walking, because no back legs, as well as that physical effort, I then got to pick her up, 35 kilograms, hold her at arm's length and try and navigate her into the various stirrups and things involved with the wheelchair. It's physically demanding work, just getting her in the thing. I'm getting a bad back, I think, at the minute. Well, no, I am, because yesterday, when I filmed the sunrise video, I cut it out of the video, but as we turn around to walk back, I got the most monumental cramps around my back, and I don't know if it's my back and my stomach, but there was just the most incredible, all the way around, and felt inside. Yeah, no, the most excruciating cramp around the stomach, around the midriff. It's from picking her up and her wriggling and me having to hold her at arm's length and get her in the bloody device. I mean, in the past, it's been a 2-person job to get her in, and even then it took time. What else do I do? So we've been going out on walkies. Today's walkies didn't get filmed. My phone folded in half halfway and wouldn't turn back on afterwards. It's funny like that. So getting out with her for a walk. This is This is a recent development. Try to do it every day. Try to do it more regularly instead of just twice a week or whatever. Potter around. Make some food at some stage, and I got my newspapers. There's a lady brings me one of these free local newspapers, English language newspapers, every week or most weeks, and I do the puzzles, the Sudoku and the crosswords and there's a little quiz. There's a crossword where some of the clues are in Spanish, some are in English, and some of the answers are in English and some are in Spanish, and you just have to work it out. Yeah, puzzles, videos. You've got the internet at your fingertips these days. I watched a few films. Don't even download them, just on YouTube, just streaming them. They're all there for free. All of the old Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce films, the Sherlock Holmes films, are there. Any day now, I'll start watching proper, real, serious Christmas films. In fact, I did watch one. It was like what was it called? It was like a Nashville Christmas Carol. So a Christmas Carol as in Scrooge, except it was all country music. But yeah, the slushy romances are in at the minute for me. I don't know why. It's Christmas. All those Hallmark films, they're all tosh. I know they're all tosh. I love them. I can't stop watching them. I am a romantic at heart, I guess. A little bit gay, but what can you say? I'm sure manly men don't watch Hallmark Christmas films, but I've also got all the other Christmas films lined up. Die Hard and Die Hard 2. Even though apparently the British public have voted to say that Die Hard isn't a Christmas film, the British public are idiots. I wouldn't ask them anything. So that's it. That's all I do. I snack when I've got snacks, when people have brought me nice things. I try and work out. I try and make lists of things that I might buy when I do finally go to a supermarket this year, which will probably be tomorrow's journey out with the dog. Working out my money, trying to keep on top, trying to work out what I can buy and when, how much I'm going to need over the next week, 2 weeks, month. All of that. So again, thank you again, Rose, for your contribution before. And cheers to everybody who has donated at any point on the PayPal link, or in the real world if you've come and visited me in the field, which quite a few people have. Cheers. Occasionally I'll have a little spree of trying to tidy up. Tidy up's the wrong phrase. Reorganize. Just so that, or just refamiliarize myself with which pile everything's in. I had to go digging through a pile of clothes earlier to find another long sleeve t-shirt. I'm trying to plot and plan how I can go to the laundrette and get a batch of washing done. Because I've never done it here. I've used laundrettes before, obviously, but I don't have coins. I do have a €10 note at the minute. It's probably €7 or €8 in the laundrette. Do they have a machine? Can I put a €10 note in and get the coins out, or do I have to go with the right change? Never been, so don't know. Also, dog. Once I put my clothes into the machine at the laundrette, and my dog is just stood out, I guess I've just got to take her for a walk for half an hour or an hour while the machine does its thing. I don't know. If I'm going to pay enough money to take a load of washing, I need it to be a big load as well. So what am I going to fill it with? So I'm making a list and trying to work stuff out and just ponder all of these. What's the word I'm looking for? The resources I have and the limitations, or what's the word? Restrictions isn't the right word. There's a better word. Come on, from my economics classes. What's a better word? I had it there and I lost it. I got a restraint stuck in my head again. I don't know. University was 30 odd years ago. Was it? What year is this? Who's the president? Graduated in 98. 38 would be 28 then, wouldn't it? So we're not there. Well, I didn't leave 30 years ago, but certainly 30 years ago I was there. Started in 94. 4-year degree. Rose, is lovely being here, but she's off to bed. How long ago did you go? 10 minutes. You might not have heard me saying thank you again. Good night, all. It's 12:30 where she is. It's a little bit later than that here. 1:42 right now. Whoever invents a method to store real power, megawatts down the road, will be our hero. What do they call these capacitor things that they keep going on about? Such and such capacitor, I can't remember what they are. It's not flux. Hello, babe. You standing up or sitting up? Hello, you. Hello. Looking for a cuddle. A cuddle kiss. What's going on down here? Let me just, you're sitting on top of the covers rather than, where are you? I can't find you. I think you're okay. I think you're okay. I don't think you're tangled in anything. You're going to lay back down for me? No? What's the word? These capacitors, they're supposed that they will release they will store a huge amount of power and release it all in one go. They're talking about using them instead of batteries. Hats off to you, Mike. You are a survivor, a testament to Darwin's theory, and adapters are the ones who keep going with a smile. Yeah, it's not all smiles and keeping going. You've given me an idea. I shall find a movie to watch this Christmas. Yeah, megafarad capacitor. It's not the phrase I was looking for, but Tina, what are we doing? Do you want to see her again? I'll go watch out for. We're down to 29% on power. I'll have to plug it back in after this, but see whether I can show it to you. Hold on, you get my ugly face until I click the button to reverse. Here she is. I will try putting the light on. I'll move it away from her to begin with, so it's not blinding her instantly. Here she is. What you got going on with your ear? Okay. You're just funny angle. Yeah, babe. You're not going to talk to the peoples. Talk to the peoples. Yeah. No? Go on, say hello. Hello, you. Hello, you. Hello, you. Oh, you're stroking my hand with your tongue. I know. You haven't got any hands of your own to stroke me with, have you? Eh? Go on. I'll do that one. You like that. There you go. I'm going to close your eye. I'll tickle your eyebrow. Tickle your eyebrow. See, I should have suppressed that. That's just a warning about battery levels. I shouldn't be shining lights over there and showing you the mess that is the tent. Hold on. You see the two cans that the lamp is balanced on. One of them's empty, one of them's full. I only brought 2 cans over. I had the remnants of one, didn't I? I think I had the dregs of one when we started. Let me turn that back this way. Cable, where's my power cables in the tablet? Let's excuse hands if you. Where did this get power-wise? Are we on 100? We are indeed. Okay. I do love my friend Karen. Can you believe she had this just sat in a drawer, unused, unopened? What is it? It's a 9-inch Samsung. Is it an S9, did we say? It's either an A9 or an S9 tablet. And on a full charge, it will do me 11 to 12 hours with the video screen, with the screen on permanently. You know, that's just solid video playback time. Either video stored on the device, or my phone is my hotspot, my Wi-Fi, which is still causing me. If any of you remember the last time there was an update to my operating system on the phone, what a fucking performance! It's been nagging me for about 2 months again. What happens is it says update available, OS update available. Click here to download and install, and I click and it says, oh no, you're not connected to Wi-Fi. I'm like, well, that's because there is no fucking Wi-Fi. I've got mobile data and I've got hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes of the stuff waiting to be used. I've just rolled over a full month's worth of data. The last time this happened, I had to move the SIM card from the phone to the tablet, use the tablet for mobile data on the SIM card, and use the hotspot, set up the tablet as the hotspot, and then connect to it with Wi-Fi so my phone could download the OS. Once that was done, it asked if I'd like to make it so that future updates could be just downloaded using mobile data. To which obviously I said, hell yes. And it's ignored that setting ever since. So now I'm on the cusp of having to mess about. I've still got my SIM card removal tool. I'm on the verge of having to do the same performance again. Moving the SIM card from one device to another, just so that the phone can download an update that it's perfectly capable of just downloading in its own right. Bloody annoying. Okay, Rose was still here. She heard me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do they not just call them supercapacitors? Is that a phrase? Is that a word? That might be what I'm. That might be where I'm going. It was something simple and kind of public friendly. If I write supercapacitor versus battery. Supercapacitors are better for high power fast charging and have a very long cycle life, over 1 million cycles, but have low energy density. Yeah. And obviously batteries are the converse. Oops, what did I click? Something went wrong. Something always goes wrong. Oh, itchy arm. Okay, folks, what did I just push? I don't know what I just caught. Nice chat. So yeah, Rose is off to find a Christmas movie. Is that to watch tonight or to watch this weekend sometime? I'm in full Christmas mood when it comes to this stuff. I've got my Christmas tree. I would have had it lit up a bit longer tonight. I would have had it on for an hour or two if it wasn't for the weather forecast telling me that there's no sun tomorrow. So I do have to be a little bit careful with my power. I did burn some before. I lost about, not lost, but I used about 10 percentage points by having that on for the best part of an hour. So that'd be about, what? It wasn't an hour, it was maybe 40 minutes, wasn't it? 10% of this battery would be 25 watt hours. It's mainly the overhead from the It's more the inverter overhead than it is the power used by the tree. I could actually, if I was of a mind to, I could just read the wall wart, the chunky plug. It'll have all the details of power draw for the actual tree itself, won't it? I think I remember it being 19 volts. So, you know, it's a transformer. 19 volts and 1 or 2 watts, 1 or 2 amps, sorry. Something and nothing in total power use, but the the inverter overhead, just for having the AC thing turned on, will be the cost. Okay, folks, I think I'm getting a little bit tired myself. I'm showing 2 hours 45 of the stream length so far. We'll probably call it quits on 3 hours if that's okay with anybody. Unless anybody's got, and unless we have a sudden influx of people and people chatting and asking questions. Struggling to think of topics to keep going with. So I've got about a quarter of an hour before I go. If anybody else is jibbing out and leaving already, that's okay. Message me tomorrow if work is slow, Frank. Okay, mate. Yeah. I'm available most of the time. I'm not going anywhere. Well, on the whole, I'm not going anywhere. Unless you happen to catch me while I'm at the supermarket or while I'm walking the dog. That's about it, really. I am going to cook if I do go to the supermarket tomorrow, I am going to cook myself a bloody big stew. In summer, I've avoided cooking big pans of food because you've literally got less than 24 hours to eat them. If you're going to make a stew, you've got to go big. So that's Frank. That's Frank off. He's got things to do. It's laundry day, apparently. Yeah, if you're going to make a stew, you've got to go big, haven't you? I'm not messing about making one tiny little pan full. It's got to be the big cauldron full. But then when it's going to go off within 24 hours in Spanish summer, now I've got a fridge. I've got my camping fridge freezer now, and I've got Tupperware. So that's okay. So tomorrow, assuming that I've done some shopping, like I said, I've got potatoes, I've got onions. I haven't checked the status of my potatoes. They've been there a while. And I have had incidents where fingers go right through them in the past, where they've sat there too long. But we can't be there yet because there'd be a swarm of flies around it. But I've got to check the status of those. I've got a second batch actually where Karen left me some potatoes. So I've definitely got potatoes, I've got onions. I need carrots, celery, probably bell peppers, maybe a spicy pepper. And then whatever the main focal point of such a thing should be, some kind of meat. I've got stock cubes, I've got all the spices I could ever need. What are we going to go with for meat? Keep it cheap and go chorizo? I buy a rabbit and portion it up? Or keep it basic and go chicken? I don't know. It's that balancing act with money and resources. Constraints was the word I was looking for before. When I was talking about resources and limitations. Constraints. Why could I not think of that word back then? I'm getting worse at this shit. Considering the amount of talking I do with you guys, you'd think that I'd be able to remember words, but it's getting more difficult. The synapses don't fire. I was thinking of spatchcock, the turkey. Whether I cut down take the spine out and go that way, or whether I cut through the front of the breasts, I'm not sure which is best. That might be too big still for the pans I've got. I had pans go missing a couple of months ago during a 2-hour stand-up fist fight. A guy threw my pans at me. They'd been out in storms and were they're full of muddy water. So I'd set them on my pine table outside with water in. I'd given them a swill. I'd taken the rough off, but I wanted to give them a proper wash. And then this clown came down here in the middle of the night, 3, 4 in the morning, and he did damage to my tent, and then I chased him off and beat him up a few times. Well, I'd already beaten him up a few times. But then he came running through my camp and he threw my pans at me, and ever since then my pans are not there. They're probably lost in thick undergrowth. The big storms, the heavy storms brought out a lot of plants went into full flower. If you look at my channel and look back at the videos, I've got a video called something like, "Oh, what a beautiful field," or something like that. And the field's still in full blossom, and it's actually turning into berries. But yeah, pan table. Yeah, I mean, my friend Tom was looking to get rid of a pine table, and a big solid thing. He had to take the legs off, but he brought it round, and we rebuilt it. And yeah, it's sat out there. I've got a second table now, a smaller foldable one. The pine table is just full of everything. It's full of it's crowded. My coffee making station, so I've got jars of coffee and sugar and hot chocolate out there. Washing up bowls and plates and things. I keep washing. I've got one plate that I use frequently. I keep washing it, but whenever I come to use it, it's full of sand because the rain carries Saharan dust. We get covered in a fine red dust. I can't remember what else is on there, but it's full. The tables really needs reorganizing and tidying. I've ended up making my coffees on the foldable table. I got 4 chairs out there, but they're a mishmash. They're all different. This was the stage that I got to a couple of years ago, where the police turned up and stole all my belongings. Yeah. I should have done more to stop them. If I knew then what I knew now, I would have physically defended myself from them. Got in front of a judge the next day and proved that they were breaking the law. No court order, no paperwork, not even a receipt for anything they took. Everything they took, they just threw in the bin wagon. That's my shit, that was my stuff. And they did it under the pretext of everything being a fire risk. Bottles of water were a fire risk. Green garden furniture was a fire risk. The gas barbecue was a bit more arguable. But it was a proper real gas barbecue. It was sturdy, it was away from everything. It didn't send it didn't send embers anywhere because it was gas, not wood. Gas balls, fire risk. They're not. Gas balls are built to withstand temperatures of 450 degrees Celsius. If your gas ball is bursting into flames because of the temperature around it, you've got bigger troubles than gas balls exploding. The earth's on fire. Don't know, folks. It always makes me wonder, always makes me think. But but now I know this field's private, and short of a complaint from the owner, nothing to do with the police. They should not have removed any of my items that day. They certainly shouldn't have arrived and threatened to shoot my dog as the first words out of their bastard mouths. My tent that I was in at the time was new, had only been up about a week, and they unclipped every tent peg and then stood there shaking the fucking tent till I told him I was going to come outside and smack him. When he said, "What, you're threatening to smack a police officer?" I said, "Yeah, I will defend my home to the fullest extent allowed by law. You guys had clubbed together, raised hundreds of pounds for me to buy a new tent. And then these cunts were unclipping it and shaking it and risking damaging it. Yeah, I would have smacked them." In Spanish law, when you're in a tent, when you live in a tent, when it's your permanent residence, you get the full protections that a homeowner would have. You're in private inside. So you can't be arrested, you can't be threatened, they can't forcefully kind of interrogate you. You just close the door and tell them to go away. All of these rules, I didn't know the full status at the time. Demanding ID. Can't do it. I'm in private. The laws on Spanish police demanding your ID, those are for when you're out in public. All of these things. But throwing away my bottled water because it's a fire risk. Pans, plates, cups, saucers, whatever. Side plates rather than saucers. All my cooking gear was outside because that's where the barbecue. I wasn't using the barbecue as a barbecue. I was just using it as a gas ring, or 2 gas rings, so a gas hob. But all my cooking gear, pots, pans, 2 gas bottles, the barbecue itself, everything. At the time, I didn't have the EcoFlow and the solar panel. I had 2 small solar panels outside, 2 10-watt solar panels connected to wired up to the female cigarette lighter socket, and then I'd got the male adapter in for USB. But those panels were outside. They were threatening to take those. I had a lamp like this. Oh, I had a lamp like this. And because it's solar powered, or can be solar powered, it was outside. It was on the clothes dryer. They took it because fire risk. No documentation, no court order, no nothing. No appeal process. It went straight on the back of a bin wagon as junk. Oh, I can't chase that now. I'll have to balance this just on one can. Privately owned. The land is privately owned and no one can trace the owner. And the owner sure as hell hasn't made a denuncia. No complaint. Absent a complaint from the owner, I can't be trespassed. It's entirely possible that even with a denuncia, even with a report, I would have certain legal protections by now. If I wanted to go that route. So yeah, but the police stole my things. I use those words. I choose those words carefully. They had no right to do what they did that day. They always claimed it was public. The police claimed and claimed and claimed it's public land because it looks like it's public land. It hasn't been. It hasn't been worked. It hasn't been fenced off. It hasn't. It is just like other scrap land. But there are very good good isn't the right word, but yeah, there are very strong squatters' rights laws in Spain. I don't know that I would want to go that route, but if I had to. See, I'm not doing any damage to the land. I'm not affecting it in any way. Well, I mean, I've got things here. So outside of the tent, there's about 10 shopping bags full of small bottles of water, full of litre-and-a-half bottles of water. So it looks a little bit untidy. Well, water is survival. I mean, what are you meant to do? Come the apocalypse, I got about a month or maybe 6 weeks worth of water stashed out there. Everybody else is going to be coming to me for power and for water. Best keep low key. They used to visit me twice a month, every month. Well, it wasn't every month, but they used to harass the shit out of me. They had a conversation right in front of me one day about whether it's public or private. I told them I'd been told by a lady from an estate agent. I was told it was private. I told them I'd been told it was private. And they suddenly changed from it being public to, oh, it used to be private, but now it's been readopted, now it's public. They just had a conversation with me where one said to the other, privado? And the other one went, huh? And they just had this conversation in front of me where they're admitting they don't know. Now they're doing this in Spanish. And my Spanish is not great, but privado is private, obviously, or privada, depending on the item you're talking about. So tierra privada or parcelo privado. But they just had this conversation in front of me, then turned to me and lied to me and told me that it was now public. I literally laughed in their face. I had the head of the Policia Local here for multiple hours trying to get me off the land. Well, he's on the phone, I assume to the land registry. And in the end, him and his 5 henchmen left. I'd already left them. I told them, right, I'm going inside. When it got to like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I just said, okay, I'm going inside. You're dentro. Me inside. I closed the door and just left them out there. And then they shouted, the one that had English shouted my name. They'd obviously done the whole paperwork and naming and all that crap. Again, turns out, illegally, that those powers to demand ID from anybody, that's in public, not in private. They can't just knock on someone's door and demand ID. In fact, if you've got a garden, they won't enter. They don't even enter your garden. It's not like they come in and knock at your door. A lot of Spanish properties have got a doorbell outside the garden gate. So that's where the police go, because they can get in trouble for going on private land. They trounce all over here. It used to be, there's a track here at the side of the tent. It used to be I never went out that side. Most of my tents have had a door either side. I always went out this way and along what looks like a path through the field, but it's actually a riverbed. It's where the storm would carry water. And yet, I had tracks to my door on this side, from the track. I had tracks from the track, from the little road. Because of police just getting out of their car and walking to this door. They were the only people that used it. Anyway, I'm ranting about the police. I don't like to do that. I prefer to forget about them. Best keep low key. The mayor sent them to arrest me one time. Is it easy to keep a low key when the mayor's sending his henchmen? Eduardo, what are you doing, lad? Anyway, folks, anyway. I think with that, I will love you and leave you. We're over the 3 hours mark. If I could hit 4 hours and get the thing processed quicker, I probably would, but I'm not going to be able to keep the conversation going. I can feel myself going off into rants in areas I don't want to talk about. So yeah, I think we'll draw a line under it there, folks, if that's okay with everybody. I've got a feeling that this light isn't getting charged properly. Yeah, it wasn't. Okay, folks, let me leave you in the manner to which you might have been accustomed if you've been here a while. I'm going to unplug this cable because it'll be in the way otherwise. But I'm going to say to you, thank you for joining me tonight. Especially if you've joined from over on Scrufdog's when he had his little technical issue with electricity. But everybody's welcome. Thank you everybody for joining me. And in the manner to which you may have become accustomed, I will say to you, from Tina Doggy Darling, from Tina, and from me, Delta Mike, out. Catch you later, folks.